Hey guys, welcome back to another round of Inside the Clinch. Eric back with another week of MMA action, joined this week by our longtime friend Pulat. How you doing, brother? Good to have you back on.
Good. Thank you for having me. I'm good.
So Johnny's going to be out this week. He's got some exams going on in dental school. So Pulat is going to share some wisdom with us. He's going to fill in for Johnny this week. We had a very stacked UFC 266 pay-per-view. Honestly, could potentially be card of the year. In my opinion, from start to finish, this card was exciting. From the prelims going all the way through the main event, this was an exciting card. So definitely a great way to spend the weekend if you guys caught it.
Yeah, a lot of storylines in this one. A lot of prospects, a lot of big fights, a lot of drama going on. It was a good one to watch.
Yeah, we had 2 title fights, the return of Nick Diaz. We have Merab getting his first finish. We have Shevchenko giving Lauren Murphy her first finish. So a lot of big things going down this weekend. Also in the boxing world, we had Oleksandr Usyk defeating Anthony Joshua to get 4 of the 5 heavyweight belts. So big weekend for fight sports.
Yeah, for sure.
So just to talk through some of the fights that were on the prelim card, not going to go through all of them. Shamil Abdurakhimov took on Chris Daukaus. He got knocked the hell out, put into another dimension. Chris, I mean, he looked phenomenal. And I think they're talking about signing him up with a fight against the Black Beast coming up next. So big win for him, big step forward in both competition and in rankings. So like I said, this prelim card even was off to an amazing start this past weekend.
Yeah, Daukaus is one of those like few young up-and-coming heavyweights. He's not young as an age, but for heavyweight, he's young. But he's one of those that have the potential. Him and that guy from Great Britain, England, Tom Aspinall.
Yeah, he's another savage.
Yeah, those two are, I say, the heavyweights to watch that are coming behind, the Cyril Gans and the Francis Ngannous of the world.
Yeah, it's the next generation of heavyweights. Like you said, they're relatively young. Most of the heavyweights are, on the latter half of their career. They're usually in their late 30s, maybe, early 30s. But these two young prospects, Black Beast is going to be a very big challenge for him. I don't think he's faced anyone like that yet, but like you said, he's very young, so maybe he can adapt and overcome the challenge ahead.
Yeah, he got a lot of power in his hands too. So if he connects, should be interesting.
Absolutely. Next up, we had a very exciting fight. Dan Hooker getting a unanimous decision win over Nasrat Haqparast. This was an amazing fight, just even to understand what these two guys went through leading up to the fight. Dan Hooker barely got into the country. He was in New Zealand or Australia, I believe, and they were having visa issues. All the government offices were closed there, so they couldn't get him the documents to fly out, and they almost postponed this fight because of that. And his opponent, Nasrat, had a similar issue. His mother, unfortunately, passed away about 2 weeks ago. I think he flew back home to, attend the funeral services, but he also had issues coming back in. So both guys just went through a whole lot before the fight even went down, to the point where the media was pretty much harping that both these guys get the $50K bonuses before they even start fighting, which I wouldn't have been opposed to, man. Both guys are stand-up guys.
Yeah, and I mean, just to give the people some more insight, the fights on Saturday, the weigh-ins Friday morning, both of them flew in on Thursday night, cut the weight and weighed in the morning. On weight, in Nasrat case, championship weight. So it's like a great level of professionalism showed by both of them. I think that was a bigger story than the actual fight. They both put on a good fight. They both warriors, but just the professionalism, just everything they had to endure, just the obstacles that they had to overcome, just shows you what it is to be a fighter in their shoes.
Yeah, absolutely. No excuses. They showed up when they had to, the way they had to. And like you said, they put on a great show for us. 3 rounds, unanimous decision win for Dan Hooker. He does have the expertise and the, just the experience that Nasrat doesn't have in his young career. I had a feeling that was going to play a factor in getting his hand raised this weekend. But Nasrat is a very tough young prospect. I definitely think he'll be back strong, and I can definitely see him being a top 5 prospect in the lightweight division before he ends his career. So definitely,
it's a stacked division, but yeah, the potential is there.
The kid is good. He's not just one of those guys that's kind of like a fill-in guy. Like, hey, we need someone to fight. Why don't you step in? Like Nasrat he's really tough. He has really good hands. And like I said, he's still relatively young. So I think he can make changes that he needs to to prosper in this division. But yeah, lightweight division is no joke.
Yeah, and he took a big step up. Dan Hooker's a ranked fighter. He's been in there with the best of them. So it was a good litmus test to see where he is in his career. And I mean, we see he has work to do, but he's not too far away.
Next up, to close up the prelim card, we had Merab Dvalishvili taking on Marlon Moraes. This fight was freaking exciting, man. So the past few weeks, I haven't been placing any bets just because any bets that I do place, the opposite ends up happening. The bets that I don't place, my exact prediction end up playing out. So I decided to put in one parlay very last minute as this fight was starting up, and I put Merab on there. And for those that caught the fight, about halfway into the first round, Marlon Moraes caught Merab with a beautiful punch that just got Merab dazed. Merab was all over the place. Looked like he was just trying to survive. But by the end of even the first round, Merab was able to get a takedown, get on top, and started ground and pounding Marlon Moraes and almost got the finish. So really exciting. Then in the second round, he got a TKO stoppage at 425. Merab's very first stoppage in the UFC. Very exciting fight, man. It was just like, holy shit, from start to finish.
Merab is a machine.
Straight
no
up.
cardio issues at all. This guy can go for days. You see the shirt that you're wearing? I tell you, he gives him a run for his money.
That's going to be a great fight one day. We'll get to what's going on with Peter Yan in a moment. There's a little bit of an update with the interim title situation there, so we'll touch on that. But I agree, Merab doesn't like Peter Yan. He's teammates with the current champ, Aljo, so he's obviously siding with Aljamain during this whole Peter Yan versus Aljo Twitter beef drama that's been going on. So the hate's already there. Merab is fastly going up the rankings. Marlon Moraes is a big name, big test for him, and I think he made easy work with him. And another fighter too, I think Merab is going to be looking at a title picture as long as Aljamain isn't holding the belt.
Who do you like next for Merab?
I don't know. I'm kind of like Sean O'Malley, honestly, stylistically, and that's a fight Johnny and I have spoken about in the past. Stylistically, Merab is probably going to be a nightmare for Sean O'Malley, but both guys are rising prospects. They're both gunning for that belt. They're both young. I think it might be
kill one off though.
You're gonna have to make that fight eventually. Let's see who else is ranked in that division. Who do you think is good for Merab next?
I like the Dominic Cruz fight.
Yeah, I don't know. Dominic Cruz, I don't know. I'm not the craziest about having him return. I don't think he's that high level. He's a big name. He's well known. He was a former champ a while ago, but he's not the same wow factor. He's not the same level of athlete that he used to be back then. So I feel like a lot of people are kind of getting wins over him, adding his name to their resume, but it's not really as impressive as, Cody Garbrandt winning Dominic Cruz. You know what I mean? Like, it was a different era.
But I feel like in where Merab is right now, I feel like he needs a name on his resume similar to Marlon Moraes. Marlon was like the first big name on his resume. Give him another one in Dominic, and then he could step up the ladder there. Because everybody else ahead of him is pretty much booked up or injured. TJ's in surgery. Sandhagen and Peter Yan, which we'll talk about later on. Aljamain's injured. And then you got, I hear Aldo and Font is in the works.
Yep.
So everybody's pretty much tied up. Merab can use a big name like Dominic Cruz, I feel.
Yeah, Merab moved up to number 6 currently. Yeah, so like you said, number 4, number 5 is Rob Font, Jose Aldo. Number 2 is TJ Dillashaw. Number 3, Sandhagen. Number 1, Yan, and obviously champ Aljamain Sterling. Frankie Edgar sitting at number 8. That's a good name for Merab, but realistically, I don't think a win over Frankie is going to get him anywhere closer to the belt. He might make some good money if they can headline like a UFC fight night with the two of them, because Frankie's, again, a former champion, big name.
Well, Frankie got a fight booked against Chito Vera in Madison Square Garden.
That's right. I forgot about that. That was supposed to be O'Malley versus Edgar. I don't know, man. Frankie's another one of those guys. I love the guy, but I'm not sure why he's still fighting at this point. You know what I mean?
But in the UFC's position, that's what you got to do. You got to use their name. You got to build up the next generation.
I just feel for the fighters, man, because it's not just one of those, like I say all the time, it's not one of those sports where you can just lose, like you lose a few points or whatever. Like, you're going to take a beating. You could get knocked out. You could break a limb. You could mess up your eyes like Bisping and just have one eye for the rest of your life. Like, you never know what kind of shit's going to go down in this sport.
Yeah.
So
that division's on fire. The 135 is on fire.
dude, I was thinking about it the other day. Just about every division is like heavyweight's on fire. Light heavyweight has a lot of great prospects. Welterweight, middleweight's on fire. Lightweight, featherweight's on fire. Like everything almost is on fire right now in the UFC. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Great time. UFC 266 prelims to start off the card. We had Jessica Andrade taking on Cynthia Calvillo. Andrade showed why she's the number one contender in the division. She got a round one stoppage at 4:55. Pretty much a one-sided dominant performance. She was a smaller girl, but she was able to get inside the pocket. She was able to get the takedown. She was able to do what she wanted to do, and she got the takedown in the first round. Great win in my opinion, but unfortunately, I don't think she takes a step forward in her career in any way.
She's a beast. I mean, it's just that division is just Queen Valentina, and that's it.
Yeah, so she's ranked number one now. Like I said, you can go up higher than that. I don't think she's going to get an immediate rematch for the belt. So unfortunately, I think one or maybe even two more fights, depending how they go, until she gets another rematch. I don't know, man. Valentina and Nunes should just have their own elite division where the two of them fight each other every 6 months, and then the rest of the females should get a chance to fight for the gold. Because at this point, it's not even fair. I feel bad for them. All right, next up, we had Curtis Blaydes getting a unanimous decision win over Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Pretty much played out the way most people expected that it would. Jairzinho did not really make any upgrades, any updates, any improvements to his wrestling defense and to his takedown defense and to his stand-up game. Curtis Blaydes, like we all thought, stylistically, his wrestling did the work. Was able to take Biggie Boy down and ground and pound him. And Jairzinho, from what it looked like to me, didn't really even try to get up. Kind of just took the beating, it looked like, and stayed where he was. And I don't know, like I think in order to stay with the rest of the heavyweights, he's gonna have to fix up his wrestling holes, because he's not gonna be able to get to the belt. He's not gonna be able to get his hands on the belt if he doesn't improve that.
Yeah, but that eye looked bad.
Yes, he caught him with. So Jairzinho caught Curtis Blaydes with I think it was a knee, right? A very big knee. His eye was swollen at that point, which a lot of people were thinking could have potentially changed the direction of the fight, just because of his vision looked pretty obstructed. But Curtis Blaydes did what he had to do. He secured the takedown, secured the position, and just put the beats on Biggie Boy.
He's in that position where he's better than everybody in the division except for like the top guy. So he's like stuck. So he's like beating all the contenders coming up, but he can't get past Francis. So it's like it's a weird spot for him to be in. Yeah.
So he had three call outs. He said either let me get for the winner of Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gane, which is not the worst call out, because I think that there aren't really many other contenders following that match to, I guess, claim the title fight. He also called out Stipe Miocic or Jon Jones. So I guess between those three fights, he was open to any of those. I like those fights for him. They put him, in a direction towards the belt. I don't think he's going to get the title fight next necessarily, but I think if he fights either Stipe or if he fights Jon Jones, if we ever see Jon Jones back.
I think John's a little bit busy lately. A little bit.
So
we'll got some issues going on.
We'll get our fingers crossed, and hopefully he gets that Stipe fight. Because look, the Stipe fight can definitely get him. I think if he beats Stipe, he definitely deserves to fight for the belt next.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
It's a good matchup because Stipe is a good wrestler too.
Yeah, I don't know why Stipe's been out for so long. Like, it's been enough time that he kind of had time to get over that Francis Ngannou kind of knockouts. Like, there are other things you could be doing if you still want to be involved in the sport. Like, Stipe is one of those guys that hasn't been like super excited to be a fighter. It seems like he enjoyed being a champion. He doesn't really enjoy being a fighter as much. So if we do see him back, like continue his career, I would like to see him get matched up with someone soon. But otherwise, I think should make space in the rankings for the rest of the prospects we got coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I like the matchup between Blaydes and Stipe. I think it's a good fight. I think we'll get to see who the rightful number one contender is, and they can fight the winner of Ngannou and Gane.
I would assume Stipe would have an easy time just because of the experience, and I think he's pretty decent amount bigger than Curtis Blaydes. But again, he's been through a few wars recently, and who knows how how he is mentally, just losing, the heavyweight belt and how he's been, because we haven't seen him ever since.
Yeah, I don't know. Curtis Blaydes, he ragged those people, so I don't know.
I don't know. Hopefully we'll get to see it. Next up on this card, we had Robbie Lawler defeating Nick Diaz in the third round, 45 seconds in. What were your thoughts on this? Because I had a lot of mixed emotions.
He fucking quit. I couldn't believe it.
It's crazy. So out of character. It's just so like not what you would ever expect out of any of the Diaz boys. Like
no fucking pointing, no middle finger. He got hit and he stayed down. That's the last thing I expected from a Diaz.
Dude, he went down and I don't know. I don't know if it was the nose break. I don't think it was the nose break. We've seen him take more damage and still get up and still talk shit. I don't know if it was the lack of motivation, because like
he wasn't there mentally.
Yeah, building up to the fight, he's like, I don't really want to be here. I don't know why I'm here. Like, I don't know why this fight got made. So pretty much ever since I heard that interview with Brett Okamoto last week, I've kind of been like, I kind of had a weird taste in my mouth with Diaz. I just feel like he didn't want to be there. Like it's almost like someone's forcing him to be there, like against his will. And I don't know. I didn't feel great about that.
And then I saw that video of him like shadow boxing, and I was like, yo, put your fucking money on Robbie Lawler right now.
Dude, I same thing. He was on my parlay too. So I hit that parlay, by the way. It's been a while, but I got lucky this weekend.
That's what's up. Yeah, but I don't know. I had a feeling Robbie was going to take it. He just seemed more there mentally. I don't know. The Diaz was very out of character.
So the fight did end up, as the fight was progressing, it did kind of get a bit closer than I thought it would have been. I thought it was going to be a one-side domination by Lawler, which it basically was. But there were parts in the fight where, Diaz was hanging in there, was answering back. But again, not enough. The speed wasn't there. The power wasn't there. But I think most importantly, the hunger wasn't there. I don't know. Personally, I don't really want – I mean, I like that they matched him up with someone like Robbie Lawler, but I think anyone else would have been just a horrible mismatch. I don't know, man. I don't really want to see.
I got a good fight next for him.
Who is it?
If he does come back, how about him against Mike Perry?
Mike Perry? You don't think he's going to knock him the hell out? Mike Perry got nice hands, man. He's a brawler. Not the most technical boxer, but he's a brawler.
He's not all there either, mentally.
That's true, man. That's true. But he is a lot younger. So I don't know. Like I said, I love the Diaz boys. I really don't want to see him get hurt. I mean, obviously, it's a fight game. They're here to get hurt, but to take a beating, they don't have to. I mean, I would like to avoid that as a fan.
I just feel like they're in it for the money. So,
yeah,
I think Nate's coming back December.
Against who? Is that official?
No, but he tweeted about 20 minutes ago, December.
I don't know. He's been calling out a lot of people. I think Gilbert Burns, I think Vicente Luque, both been talking shit to him. There's a few people calling out Nate. Look, Nate's a huge draw right now. Not necessarily the winning guy, but he's getting all the biggest names that I feel like at the moment right now, he's pulling some of the biggest pay-per-views. So if he's doing that, if he's healthy, if he's able, why not?
Yeah, I agree.
Next up, we had Valentina Shevchenko making another title defense. She is the flyweight queen, defeating Lauren Murphy 4 minutes in the fourth round. She gave Lauren Murphy her first stoppage loss. Prior to that, Lauren Murphy has only lost via decision. The total strikes landed at the end of the fight were 132 for Valentina, 19 for Lauren Murphy. So just complete clinic from start to finish. The bullet has done it again. I mean, there's just not enough praise that you can give this woman. She's just a phenomenal mixed martial artist. Like, I'm not sure what else there is to say. She's just on a different level from her competition.
We call her Queen V.
Queen V. Dude,
I mean,
she's low key a KGB spy. I say this like every time on our podcast where she comes up now. Like, I'm convinced that she's a spy when she's not in that ring.
I read that on Twitter. I actually asked Dana about it recently too. Shit was hilarious.
Dude, her sister flies a helicopter. They both know like 15 different languages. Like, it literally is all the tellings of a
know
spy.
how to use different guns and stuff like that.
They're crazy, man. It's phenomenal.
But yeah, I want to see the Nunez fight again.
Like I was saying earlier, I think Nunez and Valentina Shevchenko should be signed to fight each other every 6 months. There's no one on either of their levels in any of the weight classes right now to give them any competition.
Except Kayla Harrison.
Kayla Harrison, yeah, but Kayla's she needs to get into the UFC. I feel like until that happens, she's not gonna realistically
Soon.
face.
She's gonna win this tournament. She's gonna win her $1 million. She'll sign with the UFC, and we'll get to see her against Amanda.
It's gonna be a big fight. You think they make that fight immediately, or do you think they give Kayla a couple of tune-up fights to get used to the UFC first?
There's nobody else at 145. Why not?
Yeah, you're not wrong. I don't know. I feel like we're gonna have at least 6 months. So I think the PFL season this year ends in the end of October. I know it ends earlier than it usually ends on New Year's. I know the season's ending earlier this year. So look, October, hopefully all goes well. She wins another $1 million. She gets her belt. She signs to the UFC. You know, we could be looking first quarter, maybe second quarter of 2022. It's gonna be exciting.
I can't wait.
Long time coming, man. Long time coming.
I've been tooting this horn for a very long time.
A lot of people don't know Johnny Poulat and I. We all did judo together when we were younger, and we've seen Kayla in action. We've seen her train for the Olympic circuit. We've seen her pretty much her road to the first Olympics. Very friendly girl. So we've known who Kayla is for many years, and it's just really exciting for us to see someone like that from our sport just do so well and progress up the ladder. And sounds like she'll be giving a big problem to the female GOAT, Amanda Nunes. So
yeah, sure. We are biased.
Let's go, Kayla, man. I hope she gets the job done.
Let's go.
All right, man. To wrap up this pay-per-view, we had Alexander Volkanovski taking on Brian Ortega. This was another one of those super exciting fights from start to finish. People are saying fight of the year. People are saying the third round was the round of the year. I mean, this was just a super exciting fight. Alexander Volkanovski shows us again why he's the featherweight champion. It was a unanimous 5-round decision. I think pretty much all the cards had it 50-45. But I think
one card had it 49-46, one had it 50-45, and then it was a 50-44.
Yeah, it was. I feel like you can't really go by the cards for this fight. It was a bit of a closer fight, but I mean, Volkanovski, he pretty much did everything. He had the power, he had the speed. He did get me scared though. So there were a couple of moments where he was, dropping bombs on Brian Ortega from the guard. And I was watching the fight with Johnny. I'm like, dude, he needs to get out of there. He's going to get caught in like a triangle or get caught in an armbar. Literally 10 seconds later, Brian Ortega sneaks in a triangle. I'm like, God damn it, fuck. He was on my parlay too. It was the last fight. I'm holding my hair. I'm like, dude, he could not be like this. This is bullshit right now. Like, I knew this was going to happen. Like, how are you getting caught in a triangle? He survived that. I think later on in the fight, it happened like a second time. So a couple of dangerous positions.
That guillotine was tight.
So that guillotine, I thought it was game over. He was turning purple. I think if Ortega pretty much just held on until his arms gave up, I think Volkanovski would have gone to sleep because realistically, he couldn't have gotten out. Ortega did a beautiful job. If you pay attention, what he did with his legs, he pretty much locked up Volkanovski, so he had no leverage to pivot off or make any space to make a gap to get his head out. So just beautiful, beautiful jiu-jitsu from Brian Ortega. It's upsetting to see him get his ass beat the way that he did again. But look, great prospect. You're talking, his only losses pretty much are to Holloway and Volkanovski, like the two greatest featherweights ever. I think the guy's going to make corrections and come back. I think the three of them, honestly, Holloway, Ortega, Volkanovski, you can mix and match him up any way you want, and you'll have an exciting event nonetheless.
Yeah, he's just like in a similar position to Blaydes, where he just can't get over that hump, but he beats everybody else below him.
I don't know, man. So they just booked. We all thought Holloway was going to fight the winner of this. Seems like they just booked Holloway versus Yair Rodriguez, which is an exciting fight. But I feel like Holloway just has the IQ, the speed, and just the experience to get the job done over Yair.
Yair hasn't been in it for a while.
Yeah, let me see when his last fight was. I think it was it against Jeremy Stevens?
Yeah, I believe so. That was a while ago, though.
Yeah, Jeremy Stevens, which was October 2019. So pretty much all of COVID, he's been, hopefully training. I don't know what to say, but it's a big gap. The guy is 28, so he's still young.
He was suspended. I think he was suspended from USADA for whereabouts, like not updating his whereabouts.
Yeah, you're right. So in December 2020, he got a USADA violation and they suspended him for, until March 2021.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I guess that makes sense. Still a few months of inactivity, but USADA doesn't play around. When you're in the USADA pool, you got to let them know where you are and where you are at all times. I guess they take that shit seriously.
I think Holloway and him were booked in July, and then the fight got scrapped, and now they're rebooking it for. Yeah.
Who do you think he has anything to offer for a challenge for Max Holloway? Or do you think it'll be one-sided?
Yeah, one-sided. I mean, we saw what Frankie did to him, so.
So I guess the real question now becomes, what is Volkanovski doing in the meantime? Because Holloway's tied up, Yair's tied up, Ortega just lost. I don't know. What do you think we have going on for Volkanovski?
I mean, if he wants to wait, he can wait. Or I guess the next best option would be Giga.
Ooh, Giga. Yeah, for some reason, his name didn't even cross my mind. But yeah, that would be phenomenal. The kid has definitely deserved the title shot, in my opinion. Yeah, why don't they make that fight and then winner fight the winner of Holloway and Yair?
Yeah, match Ortega with Calvin Kattar. That's a good fight.
And then, dude, I think we got something in the works right here. That's beautiful.
Sean Shelby, call me.
All right, so we have Volkanovski versus Giga. Then for number one contender, we have the winner of Holloway versus Yair. And then for, I guess, the contender following that, we have Ortega versus who did you say?
Calvin Kattar.
Calvin Kattar. I love it, man. I love it. I think those are the 6 biggest dogs in the division right now. Best way to match them all up. I think send out the contracts ASAP.
The division is deep too. A lot of prospects in that division. Bryce Mitchell, we haven't seen him in a while.
He's someone I'm very excited to watch. The guy's jiu-jitsu is just amazing.
Yeah, Ilya Topuria, another one.
Movsar Evloev is another guy. I feel like a lot of people can't pronounce his name, so it's hard for them to be fans of his, but that's another savage. I think he may only have like 1 loss, if not undefeated. The guy's another stud. Just Dan Ige's in that division. Just studs, killers.
A little birdie told me Zabit's coming back.
Yes, I saw Mark Henry, so his coach actually tweeted out the best mixed martial artist Zabit, that he's back. No official fight announcements yet. I haven't heard anything from Zabit directly, but I think his coach is a pretty credible source that hopefully we will be seeing him.
Can you imagine Zabit against Giga? What striking that would be?
I don't know. I mean, based on Zabit's last fight, I would hope his cardio can keep up, because he did gas out in the end of the last fight. But I did actually run into Zabit a few months ago. So I was at the Bellator fight at Mohegan Sun.
When his brother fought?
Yeah, his brother fought. So I actually was literally just walking into the hotel and I see Zabit and his brother. I don't know. They seemed like they didn't really want to talk to fans. They kind of seemed like shy and they kind of wanted to stay away from like all the attention. So I kind of just gave a quick hello, a quick dap, and walked on. But very exciting to meet Zabit. He was one of my most exciting prospects at 135, and he's skinny but a little bit taller than I expected for 135. Like
145.
145. I mean, he's a little bit taller than I was, which I was surprised to see.
He's like close to 6 feet, I think.
Which is huge to cut down to 145. Yeah. Him and O'Malley, I feel like, are the exceptions to that division, where they're a bit longer, but I feel like the rest of the division isn't that big.
Yeah, Holloway's also pretty tall.
Fair. Yeah, fair enough. I guess Volkanovski just makes them all look big because he's so small.
Yeah. I mean, Volkanovski is like a little Chad Mendes kind of body type.
You know, I look at him and I can't understand how he used to be over 300 pounds. Like, I was watching this fight, like, you know, he's already a short, thick, stocky dude fighting at 145. Like, I can't imagine like where this other 150 pounds was. Like I know his face was fatter, his stomach can only be so much fatter, but like I don't know how he used to be. What was it, 350 or 15 pounds, whatever he used to be. Like, I don't know.
That good food. That's that good Australian food.
That good beers probably too.
Yeah, he did a shoey after his win. Is he the greatest featherweight of all time?
I don't know. I think it's early to say. He's definitely in the conversation. You know, even before he had the belt, he was one of those fighters that fought any contender, didn't care what the ranking was. As long as they were ready to fight and able to fight, he said, I want to fight them to prove that I'm the best in the division. That means I can beat anybody, anytime. So in that regard, I definitely, think very highly of him. I don't know. It's hard. I think him and Holloway are the two top featherweights in my time. I think Both of them they beat Aldo pretty decisively. So prior to them, Aldo was the featherweight king. Aldo, in my opinion, is number 3. If you want to talk about all-time GOATs in that division, I think we need to see another year or two out of Volkanovski's, I guess, championship reign to see how he handles it. But to me, it's between Holloway and Volkanovski.
Yeah, his resume: 2 wins over Holloway, a win over Aldo, win over Mendez, win over Ortega.
And like I said, my favorite thing is that he makes no excuses. He's down to fight anybody, like no matter what, which is one of my favorite things in a fighter.
Yeah.
All right, so that was it for UFC 266. This past weekend, we also had Oleksandr Usyk versus Anthony Joshua. Not sure if you got a chance to catch that fight.
I did.
So we had a unanimous decision win for Usyk. He now has the WBA, WBO, IBF, and IBO heavyweight belts. The only one he's missing is the WBC belt, which is currently in possession by the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is set to rematch Wilder in, I think, the next couple of months. And October, yeah. So right around the corner. We're a month away. The winner of that fight is most likely going to fight in a unification fight with Usyk around February or March of next year. So exciting things going on in the heavyweight division of boxing. What was your opinion on this fight?
Went just as I expected it to. I knew Usyk was going to take it. Very technical. Joshua underperforms a lot. And I feel like he's a bit stiff, stuck in the mud a little bit. So for me, I thought Usyk was going to get the job done. He got the job done. I think Joshua has a rematch clause.
Yeah,
they might do that one again. See how it goes. But even if Joshua gets past him the second time, I don't think Joshua beats Fury. I think Fury is leaps and bounds the best heavyweight boxer right now. And then Usyk, Joshua, Wilder, they're just a level beneath him. But Usyk is one of my favorite fighters.
Yeah, so I also thought Usyk was going to win going into this fight. He's one of those fighters, like, if you look at him in his eyes, like during these press conferences and everything, he just looks like a lunatic. You know what I mean? Like, he just looks like he's out of his mind. And you need to be that level of savage to be successful in this game. You are right. So in February, March is going to be the Anthony Joshua rematch. There's that rematch clause I forgot about. So Usyk Joshua rematch needs to happen. Fury versus Wilder needs to happen. I'm not sure if there's going to be any more rematch clauses going on there, but the winners of those 2 matches will eventually face off, hopefully to unify the heavyweight belts. I don't know. In my opinion, you have Fury, you have Wilder, and you have Usyk as like the top 3. Or I guess you can throw Joshua in there as a top 4 heavyweights right now, of our generation. Joshua, I would say, is the bottom of the 4. I would really want to see how Usyk versus Wilder would play out. I feel like stylistically it'd be very interesting. We saw Usyk. I feel like what gave him the advantage in this fight is nonstop volume. He kept hitting Joshua every time. Like, Joshua would throw a punch, he would return 3 punches. Like, he would swing a hook, Usyk would return like four more punches back. Like, he was constantly responding, constantly giving volume and output, and pretty much didn't give Joshua a second to reset and to think and compose himself. And, like we saw Fury do with Wilder, I'd be curious to see how that technique would play out against someone like Wilder, who doesn't do as good backing up.
Yeah, you just stay up in his face and keep him on the ropes.
We're finally back to an exciting era of boxing, because like for a long while, pretty much after we had the Lennox Lewis, the Mike Tysons, the Roy Jones is pretty much retired. Well, I guess Roy Jones wasn't a heavyweight, but that era of boxing, I feel like we haven't really had an exciting time of boxing. So it's good. It's a good time to be a boxing fan, in my opinion. The sport, I don't want to say it's growing, but it's definitely gaining some appeal back that it's lost over the last decade or 2.
Yeah, Jake Paul's making boxing great again, right?
Definitely not Jake Paul. So speaking of which, Tyron Woodley actually got the Jake Paul tattoo on his middle finger on the inside over here. I love Jake Paul. Johnny and I briefly chatted about it earlier this week. I don't know if that satisfies the conditions, because although it is in a visible spot, I think it's a bit small. Did it have to be like 3 inches by 2 inches or something like that? Like, I feel like
no matter what, he's not getting that fight again.
You don't think the rematch is happening? So Jake Paul played him.
I mean, Tyron shook on it before, so
Hey, he held up his end of the deal though, and they shook on the rematch. They said after you get the tattoo, we'll talk about the rematch. So
I don't think the rematch is gonna happen.
if it does happen, are you interested in seeing it?
Not really. I mean, I'll watch it, but is it something that I'm like, oh my god, I'm wondering how? I saw how it went. It's gonna be a close fight, back and forth. Nobody's really gonna be doing much, and Paul's probably gonna win again. I mean, Woodley is a very hesitant fighter at this stage in his career. Doesn't pull the trigger, doesn't take the risk, and whatever it is, what it is. I feel like Jake Paul might as well ride this wave and go after different names, go after the Anderson Silvas of the world, the Tommy Furies, and the Vitor Belforts. Bigger fights out there for
The
him.
circus of Triller. I don't know. I can't stand that organization.
I would like to see Jake Paul fight Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah, I don't know. Oscar De La Hoya coming back is weird for me. I just feel like the guy's been on a bender pretty much when he was fighting, and even more so when he retired. I mean, even on the Triller broadcast, like you can just hear how intoxicated the guy is broadcasting, which is, him working. I don't know. I can't imagine him being healthy enough to fight. Jake Paul, say what you want. He's a young athlete. He may not be the best boxer, but he's still a young, healthy athlete. And look, he could knock out Oscar De La Hoya potentially. Oscar De La Hoya is old, man. He's 50 years old now. Like,
I'd love to see it.
The next pay-per-view for Triller.
That's a big name, though. On your boxing record, if you have Jake Paul versus Oscar De La Hoya, you're doing something right if you're Jake Paul.
Look, man, the guys are making the right noise. They're obviously, it's easier for them because they're already coming with a name. So it's easier for them to get these fights. But you gotta love to hate it, man. Like, part of me hates what they're doing. I love what they're doing. I just hate how they're doing it, if that makes any sense.
I mean, I kind of like the whole crossover thing because it's always, that barbershop talk. Oh, what would happen if this guy would fight this guy? If this guy went into boxing, now we kind of get to see it. Now we get to see who's good in boxing, who's not good in boxing. Tyron Woodley, Tyron Woodley. Anderson Silva was actually pretty good in boxing, right? So back then in Anderson Silva's prime, could he have taken Roy Jones? Maybe.
Only, it's, like you said, barbershop talk. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Some answers, we'll never get, unfortunately. To stick with the news topics, we recently had announced Peter Yan will be taking on Corey Sandhagen for the interim bantamweight bout. After Sterling had to withdraw, he had lingering neck issues following his surgery, so he was not able to heal properly. Peter Yan tweeted out, "I told you so." He tweeted out back when the fight was set initially that Aljamain Sterling will find a reason to pull out, and then he retweeted that exact tweet and said, "I told you so." To be fair, I did listen to Aljamain Sterling's interview with Ariel Helwani. I think it was 3 or 4 weeks ago. And from the beginning, Aljo did say that there were some lingering issues that he had at the time. So it's not like something he's just coming up out of thin air. To be fair to Aljo's credit, this was something that he did put out there. My only criticism is, why sign the contract for a fight if you're not able to fight? You know what I mean? Like, he's already taken up like a year of Peter Yan's career, having him sit and wait for the belt. Like, I feel like the right thing to do would have been initially give Peter Yan versus whoever the contender was at the time, maybe Corey Sandhagen, initially the interim fight. And Corey could have, the winner, who I think probably would have been Peter Yan, would have been just defending the interim title belt until whenever Aljo's ready to get back. And when Aljo gets back, they can have that unification fight. Again, coulda, shoulda, woulda, not an ideal world, but I'm glad that they're finally getting at least the interim belt on the road so that they can finally get this division moving again.
Yeah, I think Aljo just tried to satisfy Dana, not piss him off, just sign the fight. I feel like he was pressured into it. Sign the fight. Shit happens.
I don't know. I mean, you're the champion. You have to defend or vacate. Like, you can't just take TikToks with your belt that you won for crying. You know what I mean? And just expect it's gonna last forever. Like, you got to defend the belt or you got to get rid of it. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I'm not mad that they made an interim title. I get
I'm not
it.
mad either. I just wish they did it sooner because, like I said, I feel like Peter Yan could have at least had 2 interim title defenses in this time that we've been waiting for Aljo to return. You know what I mean? Like Peter Yan's one of
But
those
if they did it
guys.
sooner, if they did it sooner, then everybody would be like, "Oh, he just won the belt, and they're doing it in some time." Similar to what
Yeah,
Cyril Gane had to go.
but it's different because the champ is injured in this case, or he has surgery. It's not like Francis Ngannou where literally absolutely nothing is wrong with him and they're not giving him a title fight, like a title defense. You know what I mean? Like Aljo in this case is injured. He's having surgery. Make an interim belt.
I mean, I feel like in the history, there's plenty of champs that have been injured and they waited more than a year.
Yeah, but real champs,
How long they wait
not
for
fake
until
champs
they
like
make an interim
Aljo.
belt, you know?
Not fake champs like Aljo, you know what I mean? Yeah, so
I mean, I get it.
writing.
He shouldn't have kneed him in the head, though.
He should not have. Big fuck up. Big fuck up.
I like Peter Yan. I like Peter Yan, but yeah, that was his fuck up. That was his belt to lose. He was winning the fight convincingly. It is what it is. It'll happen one day.
How do you think the fight goes with him and Corey?
I think Peter Yan wins.
I think it's going to be a dominant striking clinic.
I think it's going to be a very close fight.
You think it's going to be a close
I think it's
fight?
going to be. I think it's going to be a war, like one of those wars.
Yeah, so Jan likes to get down and get dirty. Sandhagen, he's more of a grappler in my opinion, but like what we saw from Peter Yan versus in the Aljo fight, like Aljo's clearly, the wrestler, the grappler between the two of them, and Peter Yan was tossing him and throwing him like it was nothing. So, Peter Yan, as we've seen, he's comfortable grappling, he's comfortable striking. I feel like he's very well rounded. His conditioning is phenomenal. He's just a threat to everybody. I think he's going to win. Perhaps I'm assuming he's going to be a little bit more dominant of a performance, not as close, but I'm very high in the Peter Yan boat, as you can tell. Got the merch. I think he is one of the scariest bantamweights ever. Just the power that he has, the speed that he has, the precision. Ever since he lost that belt, ever since he had that DQ and lost that belt, the only thing I see from this dude on his social media is him in the camps, him running mountains, him hitting pads, doing resistance training, just straight champion work. Like it's what makes a champion, and he's emulating exactly that.
How do you feel about the fight being a title fight with two people coming off losses?
Corey and Peter Yan?
Yeah.
Look, I feel like Peter Yan had to be in the title picture regardless for what happened. Yes, he did mess up, and yes, it should have been a loss, but I still think he's the top contender, if not the champion, in that division. The Sandhagen thing, look, it makes sense. The only person above him that would have made sense to put in there would have been TJ, but TJ, I think, is having surgery or he's recovering. Like his knee was all messed up from their fight. So if TJ wasn't able to, you have to kind of pop in Corey Sandhagen. You really can't. There's not really many other people once you go further down the rankings.
They tried Rob Font. Rob Font wouldn't have been ready in time, though.
Which is a little bit weird also. I feel like, I don't know, for an opportunity like that, you have 2.5 months still. Like, I don't know. I mean, yes, it's a shorter window, but I don't know. If you're a fighter, I feel like you should constantly be in camp, in gym, training, learning new shit.
I think it's an injury thing for him, though. I don't think he'll be.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the fight with him and Aldo, I think, is set for UFC 270, which is in January.
Yeah.
So I guess more time to heal himself up and get right.
We got to get to my favorite news of the week.
What's that? Jon Jones?
100% Jon Jones.
All right, so Jon Jones is in the news again last week. Last Thursday, he was inducted to the Hall of Fame for his fight with Alexander Gustafsson, their first fight. Later that night, there was a 911 call. I'm still not very clear on what happened, but basically, Jon Jones's fiance was found with blood on her lip and on her clothes. And police were Jon Jones's daughter, I think, was asked to call the cops. The cops ended up showing up to Jon Jones where he was resisting arrest, which ended up with Jon Jones hitting his head on the cop car, I guess, as a protest, as a way to say, like, I'm resisting, I'm not getting arrested. He started, making jokes that the cuffs aren't that strong. He'd be able to get out of the cuffs and he'd be able to take on all the cops. And, the cops are like, if you continue, acting like this, we're going to tase you. He apologizes. He calms down. A lot of shit going on in Jon Jones's life, man. Hate to see
What
it.
a fucking idiot. What an idiot. How do you throw so much talent away?
Bro, it's like one of the biggest nights. He even said it. The biggest night of his career. He's inducted into the Hall of Fame, and it literally ends with him getting arrested. It's almost like I guess a textbook definition of Jon Jones's career. Like a great fighter, but a degenerate outside the ring. Like, I don't know. I love the guy. I hate to see when he gets into this trouble because, like you said, so much wasted talent. We've seen so many years of Jon Jones's career just get tied up with legal battles and this and that, where he just can't fight because of just his stupid decisions is what it is at the end of the day.
I'm so fucking over it. Whatever. It's never gonna change. It's if he's meant to be in trouble, he's gonna be in trouble. From DUIs to hitting pregnant people in car crashes and domestic violence, Jon Jones is a fucking idiot.
I don't know, man. I kind of want to hear his full side of the story, but I don't think his wife,
His fiance.
his fiance. So there's a misdemeanor domestic battery charge there, but for the damage that Jon Jones did with his head, that's a felony charge apparently that he can potentially be facing for tampering with a police vehicle. Just to put that into perspective, the fine that he's getting for hitting his head on the car is worse than allegedly him hitting his wife or his fiance. Very strange rules. I don't know how the hell that happens.
Well, she's also trying to cover it up for him also. She's saying that he didn't do anything. She's trying to protect him also.
Yes, but, like I said, I kind of want to hear what's his side of the story because I don't know if she's intimidated. I don't know if she's scared. I don't know if she's protecting him. Like she obviously is not saying the full story. We don't know why. From what it seems like the kids were there as well. From his statement, from what I read from an article on MMAfighting.com, him and his fiance have been having issues, and he was telling her he was taking 10 grand to go to the strip club to celebrate whatever. I'm assuming that led to an argument. He allegedly then grabbed her hair as she was walking away, and then the rest of this transpired. So, I mean, very disappointing. Like I said, I want to hear his side. I'm curious what he has to say about it. I don't know, man. I've been saying for a long time, if we don't get Jon Jones back into the octagon soon, he's going to end up in a different kind of cage. And unfortunately, that's what happened here.
He's a fucking idiot. That's all I'm going to say.
So he's due back to court. He posted bail. I think bail was only like $8,000, but he's due back to court on October 6th. So we'll see what happens there. A couple of weeks, next week actually. So we'll see if there's any updates. We'll definitely keep you guys in the loop. But Jon Jones arrested once again early morning last Friday.
Shocker.
All right, before we wrap up this round of Inside the Clinch, let's do one round of predictions. So this Saturday, we have Thiago Santos taking on Johnny Walker. What are your predictions for this fight, man?
I got Santos.
Any method predictions or?
Santos by decision.
So Johnny Walker, we haven't seen him fight in about a year. September 2020 was the last time we saw him, where he beat Ryan Spann, ending his 2-fight skid. Thiago Santos, he did perform very well against Jon Jones, pretty much tore everything in both of his knees. But he's currently on a 3-fight losing streak, including that Jon Jones loss. So it's Jon Jones, Glover Teixeira, and Alexander Rakic. Obviously, 3 of the top guys in the division, but 3 losses in a row nonetheless. Johnny Walker, he was. I mean, I was really excited to watch this prospect. I remember before he had that shoulder injury, Johnny and I were saying like this might be the guy to give Jon Jones like a run for his money. Like the guy was fast, the guy was creative, he was coming at you at different angles. And then we had this situation where Johnny Walker wins. He does the worm and he fucks up his shoulder and he needs surgery. Now, Johnny and I were, I think, in Cancun around this time. And we're just looking at this like the dude just had a phenomenal performance and he goes and messes up his shoulder, which is, look, the shoulder tear is a pretty big deal. You're not going to be able to throw punches the same way, the same speed, the same power. Like a lot of shit changes. So he was out for some time healing up that shoulder, recovering it. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like he returned the same after that.
Yeah, you don't got to tell me about shoulder injuries. I had my fair share of those.
So yeah, man, I don't know. I think I agree with you. I think Santos, I think he should have the experience and the fight IQ to get this done. He is having a kid soon. His fiance or wife, I'm not sure what their exact status is, but he's with Yana Kutinskaya, also a UFC fighter. She's currently pregnant. So hopefully
I'm still trying to figure out if she fought pregnant or not.
she says she hasn't. I did DM her. I did try to see if we can get her on the show. She hasn't responded. I'll try again. Maybe she's been less active over the last couple of weeks, but she claims that she wasn't pregnant, or at least she didn't know that she was pregnant. So I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. But to see that belly bump, the baby bump, I would say the timing is a little bit
I'm
weird
waiting
there.
until she gives birth, and I'm counting back 9 months, and I'm checking the date of the fight, and I'm gonna figure this one out.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think she did it intentionally, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
but
But
they're supposed to test her. Every female gets a pregnancy test before the fight.
that's a
So
good
they let
point.
somebody fight pregnant. That's fucking crazy.
It's a very good point. I don't know, man. Like I said, hopefully I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna say that she didn't fight pregnant just because I don't think that would be a good look for her. But hopefully Santos gets the job done here, can take a nice big fat paycheck home, maybe even performance of the night against Johnny Walker, who we know is a very exciting fighter. But Johnny Walker, I feel like he's practically fighting for his career here, 3 in a row. Not really active anymore, not really the same draw that he was when he started his UFC career. So this potentially could be one of the last fights we see of Johnny Walker if he loses here.
I mean, I think he's an exciting fighter. Well, they'll give him a longer leash. He's always in those knockout kind of fights. So it's either he's getting knocked out or he's knocking people out, and it's usually crazy. So I think they'll give him a longer leash. But I'm excited to see the fight. But I think the vet gets it done.
Sorry, I want to correct myself. I said it was a 3-fight skid for Walker. I want to say it's a 3-fight skid for Santos. So Santos might be fighting for his career. But look, Walker needs to get his ball rolling as well. Like I said early on when he joined the Contender Series, when he was just starting his UFC career, he was pretty much getting the same push that I would say Sean O'Malley's getting now. Like it was the same level of prospect push. And I feel like he should try to at least get somewhere back into that level because we all know the UFC loves a cash cow.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us for round 41 of Inside the Clinch. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. On Instagram, we are Inside the Clinch MMA. On Twitter, we are ITC MMA Podcast. And on YouTube and Facebook, we are Inside the Clinch MMA Podcast. Thank you, guys. Catch you next week.
We out.